Hello and welcome. In this video, we're going to review for the Unit 4 retest. So let's get started. Question number 1 says, which point represents a solution of this inequality? Good thing about this inequality, the y is by itself, so that means I can identify my slope, which is the number with x. So in this case, would be 1 over 3. And my y-intercept would be the number without x, which is 3. Now remember, you always start your graph using the y-intercept. So since our y-intercept is 3, we're going to go up 3 and we're going to make the point right there. Now because the inequality symbol does not have a dash, my point's going to be empty. And then I look at my slope. My slope is positive, so that means I go up and I go to the right. So that means this would be up 1 over 3. I cannot go up again, so I'm going to return to the starting point and go down 1 over 3. And then I'm going to connect the lines with dotted points right there. Okay? Because remember, there's no dash. Because if it was a dash, it would be a solid line with solid points. No dash, empty points with dotted line. All right, now we need to decide where to shade. This symbol is less than. Imagine this is an elevator. I want it to be my elevator to be on a floor less than the one that is right now. So that means I would ask the elevator to go down, and that means I would shade this region. So right there, I'm going to shade below the line right there. All right, very good. Now that we've done that, we're going to plot these points and see which one is in the solution or in the shaded region. So let's start with point 1, 5. So 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's point A. Then point B is negative 3, 1, 2, 3. And then 1, 2, 3, 4. This would be point B. And then point C, negative 4, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then up 1. So this would be C. And then we have 3, 5. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this would be point D. Very good. Now that we see the points and we see that point C is the only one on the shaded region. So we know for sure that that's our answer. All right, let's go on to the next problem. The next problem says which point is not a solution of this inequality. Now this inequality requires a little bit more work because the y is not by itself. So we're going to cancel the 6x in order to get that y by itself. So by subtracting 6x, 6x goes away. I'm left with 2y greater than negative 10 minus 6x. Then we're going to divide both sides by negative 2. And remember, when I divide by a negative number on the bottom, is very important rule of inequalities. The inequality symbol will flip. Negative 10 divided by negative 5 is positive 5. And then negative 6 divided by negative 2 is positive 3. So that means my y is by itself. So that means we have our slope, which is the number with x, which is 3. Now, because it's not a fraction, we're going to add a 1 underneath. And then the b is the number without x, so this would be number 5. Now that we have that, we're going to start the graph by starting with the y-intercept at 5. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now remember, at this, we know we're going to make a point there, but we need to make sure, is it going to be empty or solid? There's no dash right there, so that's going to be empty. Then look at the slope. I'm going to go up 3 over 1. Now here's a little tricky because if I try to go up 3 over 1, there's no space. That's why we need to use our imagination. So if I went up over 3, my point would be somewhere in here. And then the next step would be to return to the y-intercept and go backwards, down 3 over 1, down 3 over 1, down 3 over 1. And then you connect the line using dotted points. All right, very good. Now we need to decide where we're going to shade. This symbol is less than. Here's my elevator. I'm going to ask my elevator to go down to be on a lower floor. So that means my elevator goes down and it lands on this side of the line. So I know my shaded region is going to be right here. Very good. Now I am going to plot the points. So first point is 2, 2. So 1, 2, 1, 2. That's point A. Then the next one is 2, 1. So 1, 2, down 1. That's point B. Next point is going to be negative 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, down. So letter C. And letter D is negative 1, 2. So negative 1, 1, 2. And notice that this point lands on the empty point. And in fact, if you notice, all 3 points are in, these 3 points are on the shaded region. This point is on top of the empty point, and because the point is empty, this point D is not part of the solution, and that's what we're looking for. Okay, so be careful. Sometimes you're going to be asked to what is the solution, which one is in the shaded region, and sometimes which one is not the solution. Okay, so all right, let's go on to the next problem. Okay, next problem is a multiple choice question, and we start with this inequality, and we notice that inequality does not have the y by itself. So the first thing I need to do is cancel the number with x to get that y by itself. In order to do that, I'm going to add 2x on both sides. 2x cancels. I'm left with 5y less or equal to negative 15 plus 2x. Now I'm going to divide both sides by 5. So this would be y. Notice that we're dividing by a positive number, so that means the inequality sign stays the same. Negative 15 divided by 5 is negative 3. 2 divided by 5 stays as 2/5. And there we go. Our y is by itself. So that means we can identify our slope, which is the number with x, in this case is 2 over 5. And our b is the number without x, which is negative 3. So when I look at this problem, I notice the inequality sign has a dash. So off the bat, I know that letter A and letter D are wrong because the lines are dotted right there. Okay, so I know my answer is going to be one of these two. I notice that the y-intercept is negative 3 and both have negative 3, and the slope is 2 over 5. So up 2 over 5, up 2 over 5. So both have the right y-intercept, have the right slope. So the deciding factor is going to be where do we shade. So remember, this is our y-intercept, that's our elevator. This is the symbol less than, so I want to ask the elevator to go down, and that's where I would shade. And I notice the letter B is the one that has the correct shading. So there you go, letter B is our answer. All right, let's go on to the next set of problems. The next set of problems are word problems where you have to determine the inequality that represents the situation. So here we have the theater club is presenting a play. Students tickets cost $3 and regular tickets cost $5. The club hopes to raise at least $3,000 in ticket sales to pay for the production costs and to purchase new speakers to the auditorium. Write an inequality representing the possible combinations of X, the number of student tickets, and Y, the number of regular tickets. So we know that there's two types of tickets, student tickets and regular tickets. And he says here that they want to raise at least $3,000. So that means it has to be greater than or equal to $3,000. Very good. Now, remember, we need to attach the price of each item in the front. So the price of a student ticket is $3 and of a regular ticket is $5. So this is our answer. This is the inequality that represents this situation. All right, let's go on to the next question. Question number 5 says, Mark will spend at most $240 to buy uniforms for the athletic club. Shorts cost $15 and shirts cost $9. Write an inequality representing all possible combinations of X, the number of shorts. So here we have the variables, number of shorts, and Y, the number of shirts Jonathan wants to buy. So we have shorts and shirts. Okay, so we're going to purchase X and Y, and it says at most $240. So in this case, it would be less than or equal to $240. And the price of shorts is $15. And of a shirt is $9. And there we go. That's our inequality for this problem. Very well. So let's go on to the next page. So here we have problem number 6. So the first thing I'm going to do is get the y by itself. I'm going to subtract 4x from both sides. The 4x cancel. I'm left with 6y greater or equal to 54 minus 4x. Now, next step is to divide both sides by 6. And I have y. Notice the inequality symbol, it will stay the same because I'm dividing by positive 6. 54 divided by 6 is 9. And negative 4 divided by 6 is negative 2/3. So here is my inequality. My slope is negative 2/3. My b is 9. Now, this graph, first of all, is going to be a solid line. So that means letter B and letter C are wrong because the lines are dotted. So that leaves me these two. They both have solid lines. They both start at 9. And let's see, this one goes down 2/3, down 2/3. This one goes down 3/2, so definitely wrong. And just to be sure, this is supposed to be greater or equal to. Here's my elevator. I went up and I shaded on this side of the line. So this is definitely the answer for my problem. All right, very good. Let's go on to the next set of problems. Next set of problems are two inequalities. So the first order of business is, let's put the border and let's eliminate parentheses. So the number outside the parentheses is being multiplied by the numbers inside. This number, since is not attached to a parenthesis, I'm just going to bring it down. Negative 2 times 1 is negative 2. Negative 2 times negative 5 is positive 10x. Greater than or equal to 3 times 7 is 21x. 3 times 5 is 15. And bring down the 13. Very good. Now we're going to combine like terms. So this side I can combine 8 and 10. And on this side I can combine 15 and 12. So 8 plus 10 is 18x. We bring down the negative 2. Greater or equal to 21. We bring it down. And 15 plus 13 is positive 28. Next step is to cancel the numbers. So 18 is fine. 2 is not. So we're going to cancel 2 by adding 2 on both sides. And what I mean by 2 not being okay is because I want numbers with x on this side. Since 2 does not have an x, I want to cancel it. With the same idea, I don't want numbers with x on this side, so I want to cancel 21. So let's subtract negative 21 from both sides. There you go. Now, the 2 goes away, 21 goes away. I'm left with 18 minus 21, which is negative 3x. And 28 plus 3 is 30. We divide both sides by negative 3. And because I'm dividing by a negative number, I need to flip the inequality sign. So this would be negative 10. Very well. This is my answer. Now remember, in this one is asking me to graph. So let's write negative 10. To the right of negative 10 is negative 9, negative 8, negative 11 on the other side, negative 12. My symbol has a dash, so that means my point on top of negative 10 will have shading, or it's going to be solid. And this inequality is less than, so that means I'm pointing this direction. Notice that the tip of the arrow matches my inequality sign. All right, very good. Let's go on to the next problem. Same thing, we have a parenthesis. So first thing I'm going to do is eliminate parentheses by multiplying the numbers that are outside with the numbers that are inside. Please remember, if there's no number between the sign and the parentheses, you put an invisible one. And this 3y, we're going to bring it down. Negative 1 times y is negative 1y. Negative 1 times 23, negative 23 is positive 23. Greater than, bring down the 4. Negative 3 times 2 is negative 6y. Negative 3 times negative 1 is positive 3. We're going to combine like terms. So 3 and 1 becomes 2y. Bring down the 23. 4 and 3 is 7. Bring down the negative 6y. Now I'm ready to cancel. 2y is fine. 23 I need to cancel. So I'm going to subtract 23 from both sides. I also need to cancel 6y. So I'm going to add 6y to both sides. 23 goes away. 6y goes away. 6 plus 2 is 8y greater than. Then 7 minus 23 is negative 16. And we divide both sides by 8. And then y. This time we are not going to flip because the 8 is positive, and this would be negative 2. So that's my answer right there, and I need to graph. So I'm going to write negative 2, negative 1, 0, negative 3, negative 4. On top of 2, I'm going to put a circle, but this time it's going to be empty because there's no dash on the inequality symbol. And my inequality will be pointing to the right because I want it to be greater than, or in other words, the tip matches like that. Okay, so there you go. This concludes the review for the retest number 4. I hope that this video was helpful. Thank you very much for your time. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.